55. And whereas, it is proper that some provision should be made for payment of the necessary expenses which have been, and shall be incurred in relation to this act, and the execution thereof, and of the orders and rules to be established under the authority of the same, before the said duty shall take effect, or the monies arising thereby shall be sufficient to discharge such expenses. Be it therefore enacted by the authority aforesaid, that His Majesty may, and he is hereby empowered by any warrant or warrants under his royal sign manual, at any time or times before the 20th day of April, 1766, to cause to be issued and paid out of any of the surpluses, excesses, overplus monies, and other revenues composing the fund commonly called the sinking fund, except such monies of the said sinking fund as are appropriated to any particular use or uses, by any former act or acts of Parliament in that behalf, such sum and sums of money as shall be necessary to defray the said expenses, and the money so issued, shall be reimbursed, by payment into the exchequer of the like sum or sums out of the first moneys which shall arise by virtue of this act, which moneys, upon the payment thereof into the exchequer, shall be carried to the account, and made part of the said fund. 56. And it is hereby further enacted and declared, that all the powers and authorities by the Act granted to the Commissioners for managing the duties upon stamped vellum, parchment, and paper, shall and may be fully and effectually carried into execution by any 3 or more of the said Commissioners, anything herein before contained to the contrary notwithstanding. 57. And be it further enacted by the authority aforesaid, that all forfeitures and penalties incurred after the 29th day of September, 1765, for offences committed against an act passed in the 4th year of the reign of His present Majesty, entitled, An Act for Granting Certain Duties in the British Colonies and Plantations in America, for continuing, amending, and making perpetual, an act passed in the 6th year of the reign of His late Majesty, King George II, entitled, An Act for the better securing and encouraging the trade of His Majesty's sugar colonies in America, for applying the produce of such duties, and of the duties to arise by virtue of the said act, towards defraying the expenses of defending, protecting, and securing the said colonies and plantations, for explaining an act made in 25th year of the reign of King Charles II, entitled, An Act for the Encouragement of the Greenland and Eastland Trades, and for the better securing the plantation trade, and for altering and disallowing several drawbacks on exports from this kingdom, and more effectually preventing the clandestine conveyance of goods to and from the said colonies and plantations, and improving and securing the trade between the same and Great Britain, and for offences committed against any other act or acts of Parliament relating to the trade or revenues of the said colonies or plantations, shall and may be prosecuted, sued for, and recovered, in any court of record, or in any court of admiralty, in the respective colony or plantation where the offense shall be committed, or in any court of vice-admiralty appointed or to be appointed, and which shall have jurisdiction within such colony, plantation, or place, which courts of admiralty or vice-admiralty are hereby respectively authorized and required to proceed, hear, and determine the same, at the election of the informer or prosecutor.